Pre-reading questions. What is culture? How could you find out the meaning of a word from another language? What aspects of your own culture do you think might be different to the culture of other countries in the world? List 3 things.
The white giraffe. Martine Allen's parents have died and she has travelled from England to Africa to live with her grandmother who owns a wildlife reserve. Tendai, a Zulu tracker who works for her grandmother, has told her of a rare white giraffe believed to be in the reserve. He has found its tracks and he has followed them, but he has never been lucky enough to see the animal itself. One rainy night, Martine glimpses the giraffe from her bedroom window. She decides to go into the reserve to find it. Martine stepped through the gate and stifled a cry of terror. 2 red eyes glared at her. The bushes shook violently and a waterbuck sprang up so close to Martine that its fur actually brushed her. With a shake of its horns, it bounded away into the blackness. Martine's heart smacked wildly against her rib cage. She tried to imagine what Tendai would do in a similar situation. Not that he was likely to be in a similar situation, but if he were, she was sure that everything would be about staying calm and thinking clearly. Focus, she thought. I have to focus. I can do this. More than anything in the world, she wanted to find the white giraffe. Why, she wasn't sure, she just knew she had to do it. The beam from the torch picked out the path that led down to the water hole, where the frogs were competing in a noisy chorus. Blue lightning shuddered over the mountains on the far horizon. Martine set off as quickly as she dared, trying to avoid the puddles. Even so, her jeans were soon soaked through. In places the grass was taller than she was and cold droplets drenched her hair and ran down her neck. As she walked, unseen creatures slithered and scurried and hopped away through the undergrowth. Martine tried not to imagine the worst. She wasn't sure which she was most scared of, snakes and creepy-crawlies or man-eating carnivores, but she fervently hoped that she didn't meet any of them. After what seemed an age, the temperature dropped and she saw she'd reached the water's edge. She tried to pinpoint the exact spot where she had seen the giraffe. She was pretty sure it had been beside the old gum tree that stood, like a startled skeleton, on the left bank of the water hole. As if sensing danger, the frogs fell silent. Tendrils of mist hovered over the water and the night air was laden with threat. Martine quelled the butterflies in her stomach. She'd come too far to go back now. She lifted her torch and shone it into the surrounding bush. Nothing moved. Not a mouse, not a lion, not even a bird. Disappointment hit her like a blow. What had she been thinking? A mythical giraffe. She'd risked her life in pursuit of a fairy tale, and now she had to try to get home in one piece. Sheer instinct warned Martine something was behind her. The same sixth sense told her to turn around very, very slowly. A Cape Cobra was coiled in the mud barely 6 feet away from her, hood spread wide, swaying in the yellow torchlight. Martine recognized it immediately as one of the most poisonous snakes in Africa, more deadly even than the mamba. Its golden coloring was unmistakable. So was the band around its throat. The cobra's lips parted and its black tongue flickered out evilly. Martine dropped her torch in panic. It rolled behind a boulder and dimmed to a faint glow. Then it went out. In the split second before she was plunged into darkness, Martine saw the cobra draw back its head to strike. Helplessly, she waited for its lethal bite. It never came. Instead, a pale blur exploded from the trees. There was a hideous hissing sound and the flash of flying hooves. The last thing Martine saw before she crumpled to the ground was the white giraffe.
Grammar read. Martine set off towards the game park gate. The previous week she had overheard Tendai telling her grandmother the new code for the padlock. She had made a point of remembering it. When she reached the gate, she entered the numbers on the padlock and it clicked open. Martine stared down at it, unable to believe that it had been so easy. She realized that she had been secretly hoping that something would happen to prevent her from going into the game reserve. Martine made her way towards the water hole. After what seemed an age, she saw she had reached the water's edge. She tried to pinpoint the spot where she had seen the giraffe. The animal was not there. What had she been thinking? She had risked her life in pursuit of a fairy tale.
Listen and read. Holly, oh, look. We've got an email from Carrie. Jack, there are a couple of attachments, too. Laura, you're in the way, Jack. Move, so we can all see the screen. Holly, she says she's attached some photos so that we can see. What happens to a reef when the coral dies? Ross, and she's got the name of an expert at Brisbane University. She's going to interview him in order to find out more. Laura, did you see that article about rainforests in the newspaper? It says vast areas of forest are destroyed every day so that farmers have land where they can grow crops. Jack, the rainforests are cleared to provide land for cattle, too. Holly, we should email Sophia in Brazil to ask her about this. Jack, the trees are cut down just so we can eat meat. Laura, you're going to become a vegetarian, are you, Jack? No more burgers. Jack, well. Read the statements. Write T, true, or F, false. 1. A chain with a padlock bound and secured the gate into the game reserve. 2. It was not easy to open the padlock. 3. The waterbuck bounded away into the blackness. 4. Martine got drenched as she walked towards the water hole. 5. She was more scared of snakes than creepy crawlies. 6. Martine was disappointed because the giraffe was not at the water hole. 7. Her sixth sense told her not to turn round quickly. 8. The cobra had golden bands around its throat. 9. Martine dropped her torch behind a boulder. 10. The cobra was about to strike when the white giraffe came out from the trees. Aboriginal. Actually. Article. Aspects. Attachments. Avoid. AS rock. Belly. Beam. Blackness. Blindly. Blow. Blur. Boulder. Mist. Mythical. National Park. New South Wales. Over here. Owns. Padlock. Panic. Path. Pinpoint. Shook. Plunged. Poisonous. Pretty sure. Bounded. Burgers. Bushes. Butterflies. Calm. Carnivore. Cattle. Caves. Chorus. Coiled. Competing. Coral reef. Creatures slithered. Puddles. Pursuit. Terror. Giraffe. Queensland. Quelled. Rainforests. Rare. Reserve. Ribcage. Scared. Scuba diving. Scurried. Lethal. Waterhole. Shuddered. Similar. Creepy. Crops. Crumpled. Culture. Desert. Dimmed. Disappointment. Drenched. Droplets. Mamba. Fairy tale. Fervently. Flickered. Focus. Frogs. Situation. Sixth sense. Skeleton. Smacked. Soaked. Split second. Spot. Sprang. Stepped. Stifled. Stomach. Strike. Surrounding. Swaying. Tendrils. Glared. Glimpses. Glow. Gum. Hideous. Hissing. Hood. Hooves. Hopped. Horizon. Horns. Instinct. Laden. Blue Mountains. The Great Barrier. Threat. Throat. Torch. Tracker. Tracks. Undergrowth. Unmistakable. Vast. Vegetation. Violently. Waterbuck.